Hello and welcome back to Learning Llama. Today's video is all about sound. Sound waves are all around you, whether you're listening to music or speaking to a friend. So first of all, what is sound? Sound is a type of energy made by vibrations. It travels as longitudinal waves, a type of wave in which the particles vibrate in a direction parallel to the direction of wave travel. This basically means that particles will pass energy in the same direction as the disturbance is acting. An easy way to visualize this is a slinky. When you push on it, the slinky will bunch up at one end. The bunched up area moves along the slinky. Now let's take a closer look at longitudinal waves. The areas where the wave is bunched up is known as the compression. The compression is the area where there are the most particles. The areas where the wave is extended is known as the rarefaction, where the particles are more spread out. This is what a longitudinal wave looks like. Now that we know about how sound travels, let's look at what sound can travel through. Sound can travel through solids, liquids, and gases. First, let's talk about a gas, air. Imagine you're listening to the radio. As the radio plays music, the air particles close to the radio will vibrate. These particles then collide with other air particles, passing the vibration onto the next one, again and again. This movement is known as a sound wave. This process is the same in liquids and solids, but it happens faster, because the particles are closer together, making it easier for particles to pass the vibrations on. So, which medium does sound travel fastest through? That's right, it travels fastest in solids, then in liquids, and slowest in gases. One key thing to remember when looking at sound waves is that sound waves are longitudinal waves, but when they're often drawn as transverse waves, simply because they're easier to draw. So, when we're learning about the features of sound waves, they'll be represented as transverse waves. Just remember that the crest, or the highest point of the transverse wave, represents the areas of compression, and the troughs, or the lowest point of the transverse wave, represents the rarefactions. Let's take a look at this sound wave and identify some of the key features. First, let's look at this line. This is the resting position of the medium when there's no wave passing through. Waves cause a disturbance in the medium which causes the vibrations, so the straight line passing through is the position when there's no wave. Next, let's look at crests and troughs. A crest is the highest point of a sound wave and the trough is the lowest point. The horizontal distance between two crests or two troughs is known as the wavelength. Wavelength can be represented using the symbol lambda. The amplitude of the wave is the vertical distance between the resting position and the crest, or the distance between the resting position and the trough. We'll come back to amplitude later in the video. The other two important features we need to learn about are time period and frequency. Time period is the time taken for one complete wave to pass. You can take this from any point of the wave, but using crests, troughs, and the rest position are the most efficient. If you started at the resting position, the time period would be the time taken for the wave to reach the next resting position. In this example, the time period is 0.5 seconds minus 0.1 seconds, so the time taken for one complete wave is 0.4 seconds. Finally, frequency. Frequency is defined as the number of waves in 1 second. You can't find frequency through any direct feature of the sound wave. Instead, we count the number of waves that pass in 1 second. Counting the waves to find frequency is similar to finding the time period. Make sure you start and end at the same point of the sound wave. This counts as one wave. When we hear sounds, we don't really mention terms like amplitude or frequency. Instead, we talk about the loudness or the pitch of a sound. So, what's the relationship between these two? Let's start by talking about loudness and amplitude. Amplitude is directly proportional to the loudness of a sound. This means that as amplitude increases, the sound will also get louder. If the amplitude is small, the sound will be quiet. Finally, let's talk about the relationship between pitch and frequency. Pitch and frequency are also directly related. So this means that the higher the frequency, the higher the pitch, and the same can be said about a low frequency and a low pitch. Now you know all about sound waves. Thank you for watching and we hope you enjoyed this video.